Hero Academia Season 6 has been going okay so far, but this next one is definitely the one that I think I have the highest expectations for, because it revolves all around Dabi and Endeavor and all that kind of stuff that I've really been invested in the story so far. So My Hero Academia Season 6 Episode 10 ended off on Toga versus Ochako, and I do believe that this episode is going to pick right back up on that, or we probably will pick up on the section of chapter 289, where we see Nejire and Ida kind of making their way over to the Shigaraki and Shoto battlefield, because that's going to be important a little later. But from there, I expect for us to briefly go over the Toga and Ochako fight, because there still is a little bit more to go there, where Toga is going to more or less give Ochako a piece of her mind and tell her, hey, this is how I am, this is who I am, I'm really trying to understand what your mindset is when you come up against me from the hero perspective, because I only have my villain perspective, or at least my perspective, and I'm labeled a villain. And in the conversation between Toga and Ochako, if you've been paying attention to Toga's character, you really see that Ochako is kind of just like not listening during this scene, right? She has this one viewpoint of Toga that she has very firmly in her mind, and despite the fact that Toga's changed throughout the series and she's starting to question a lot of things and starting to ask questions to the heroes, Ochako is just really not understanding what Toga is getting at when Toga is trying to say like, hey, this is my normal, now are you gonna kill me for it? Trying to more or less find out if there's any hope for common ground between her and the other heroes like Ochako, because she thinks those are the only heroes who could potentially save her. There was some pretty good animation in the section between Toga and Ochako last week, because we did see that nice running scene where everything looked really great, but I'm not expecting anything crazy out of this beginning section of the episode. I just think it's going to be nice to see, because I do like this Toga and Ochako plotline. Moving forward though, I do think we're going to cut over to the Shigaraki and Deku area, before we're going to see Shoto and Nejire pretty much taking the hurting to Shigaraki, realizing, hey, his body is given out here, that's not really going to last that much longer. If we keep attacking him and pressing him, maybe we can actually beat Shigaraki. Nice plan there, Todoroki. I don't know if it's going to work, but I at least respect the effort. So Shoto and Nejire, I do think, are probably going to get a great scene that I hope isn't a still frame in this episode, when they try to take down Shigaraki, but something unexpected comes in and interrupts them. And that, of course, is going to be Gigantomachia carrying Dabi and the other League members, and that's where I think we really are going to get to this episode's meat in earnest. Because yes, the little quick fight between Shigaraki and the other heroes like Nejire and Todoroki is kind of cool, but the thing that we definitely want to focus on here is gonna be Dabi. I've already done a video explaining that Bones can't ruin this upcoming section of the story or this specific part, or I'm gonna be really upset, and that's for very good reason, because this is a plot line that we've been keeping track of ever since the beginning of My Hero Academia, or ever since Dabi was introduced at least. We've been wondering, is Dabi actually somehow related to Todoroki? And over the seasons, this mystery has kind of unraveled itself more and more, with one of the biggest parts of the mystery finally coming to a head in this episode. Now, even though we do get some answers, a lot of other questions are still left in the air about exactly what happened to Dabi in this situation. So don't expect for the whole mystery to just end as soon as we get whatever reveal we're going to get this week, because there are still a lot of questions left in the air that hopefully we will get answers to as this arc ends in the manga. So Dabi's going to put on a little performance in front of Endeavor and Shoto, and this episode is named Dabi's Dance, much like the chapter that it is being adapted off of, because Dabi does give us a snazzy little dance in the manga here that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, well, how is that going to be animated, right? How is that going to be handled? A lot of people are worried that Dabi's dance is just going to be a still frame, but here, honestly, I hope that they take liberties, and I hope that they go a little extra, specifically because it's not like a high action scene or anything like that. It's literally a character dancing, right? So please, I hope Bones gives us some great character animation for this scene, especially because of the way that Dabi, gleefully dancing and finally feeling like himself for the first time ever, plays against all the other events that are going to be going on at the same time, as other parts of Japan start to find out the same truth that Endeavor himself is learning. This is truly the episode that changes My Hero Academia forever, because the state of Japan will never be the same after this moment. Say what you want about the destructive capabilities of Shigaraki and the rest of the League of Villains, we know that Machia right now is running through multiple towns, and we will see some of the aftermath of that, but I think the single person who does the most damage to the Hero Society out of this war arc is actually, surprisingly, Dabi. Yes, he doesn't cause the same amount of physical destruction that some of the other characters do, but the way that he instills doubt in the heroes, into the masses of Japan, is really masterclass, and you can tell that Dabi's been planning planning to do this for a very, very long time, and now the plan has finally come to fruition. So in this situation where Dabi has pretty much created the perfect storm to make all of Japan lose their faith in heroes, how are we gonna proceed? Well, thankfully we probably don't have to worry about that because we do have preview images from the episode, and at least it lets us know that we most likely are gonna be getting young Dabi's backstory. This screenshot right here, which is a preview from this upcoming episode, shows a young fire user with red hair and a little white patch, and that is Toya Todoroki, the lost Todoroki sibling that we haven't yet seen outside of the image from his memorial inside of the Endeavor, or I guess the Todoroki household. In the manga, after the reveal that we're getting in this episode, we do go on to see some of Endeavor's early life and how things got quite as bad as they are now. We don't get a big, full, detailed breakdown of the entire events. That comes a little later in the arc in the aftermath section, but do expect to see a little bit of that because they're going to be trying to pull these emotional strings on us, right? They're going to be trying to do anything they can to get us to hurt in this scene, and I believe that it's definitely going to work considering this scene even outtrended the presidential election when it happened in the manga. So this is going to be a very, very big deal, a very, very important episode of My Hero Academia, and I honestly just hope that it's handled well because this is one of the episodes that I'm the most excited about. Now, another thing that we could potentially see in this episode is hints at the very least of another character returning into the story that hasn't been present for a good while. So look out for this, guys. I'm sure very quickly in color, it'll be really easy to pick out who that person is going to be for the anime onlys, but do expect for the heroes to get some sort of aid, and next episode, we're going to be talking about another character who's making it back into the story that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time, but I don't think I have nice things to say about them. So all in all, for my expectations for this episode, we've had a couple conservative episodes leading up to this one, and there's nothing absolutely crazy animation-wise that I think would happen in this section of the story. Really, for me, what they have to nail here is the tone. The music, I think, is going to be very, very important. I want to see some interesting direction from these scenes, and I just hope Dabi's dance, specifically what the episode is named after, is animated well and not given to us in still frame form, because My Hero Academia, the joke has kind of been lately that it's become My Still Frame Academia, and I definitely do think that's true in a lot of aspects. I feel like Pokemon at this point is animated better than MHA. So are you excited to find out how Dabi knew Hawks' name and what's been going on of this Dabi and Endeavor and Shoto plotline all over the series, finally in this episode? And would you be bummed out if Dabi's dance ended up being a still frame, or do you think there's still a way to capture Dabi's happy energy in the anime without necessarily giving it that much motion? Now, if you want to look at what's coming a little later in My Hero Academia Season 6, you can check out my video from yesterday called Deku Goes Dark, and in that video, we loosely go over some of the events that are going to be going on after the war arc, or at least starting in the aftermath all the way to the end of the season, or at least where I think the season is going to end. So you can check that out for a look into what's coming in the Dark Deku arc, or the Deku Black arc, or the Black Deku arc. It's 100 million different names for this arc. Villain Hunt, I mean, it never really ends. But please check that video out, and I'll see you guys a little later. This is Pineapple. Hopefully you enjoyed the VGAs. Maybe they'll show us some stuff from My Hero Academia Fortnite. I heard an interesting rumor about that maybe I'll do a video on if you guys get this video to 1,000 likes. But do give me a little time to just confirm that rumor, right? Because I don't want to be the source for some information and then it's wrong. So gonna be working on some stuff from now until then. See you again. Pineapple. Peace.